Hey everybody, Mitch Stewart here from Total Package Speed, Strength and Conditioning, and today we're going to go over some warm-up drills to focus on activating the muscles of the core and the hips. So before we get into these exercises, I think it's very important to note that when athletes come into our training center, the general warm-up begins right away. So that would happen before these activation drills. That includes things like a light jog, side shuffling, sweeps, cradle walks, quad stretch, lots of general movements to get the body moving and get things warmed up. After that's done, and that should be something, again, routine every day, whether it's upper body day, lower body day, come in and get the body moving through a general warm-up. After that's complete, then we get into the more specific activation drills for that training session. And today, the exercises that we're going to go over, again, are focusing on the core and the hip muscles. So there are hundreds of exercises that can be done to activate these muscle groups and areas. I'm going to do 8 different exercises today, and some that I see as some of the most high impact exercises to activate the muscles in this region. Okay, so all you're going to need for these drills is mini band. I got a heavier one and a lighter one. I'll go over how to address these bands, how to put them on your body for the different exercises. So the first thing that we have is a band kickback. So I'm going to use a heavier band for this one. The band is going to go over the feet. We're going to get into a quadruped position, so down on all fours. We want to keep enough distance between the feet that there is a little bit of tension on the band and it doesn't fall down off of the feet. Once you're in this quadruped position, you want to assess your posture and be sure that you're not in an overly extended position like this or an overly flexed position like this. We want to be in a neutral position. So if you struggle to understand where that is, you can take a dowel, put it down your back, and you should feel your head, your upper back, and your tailbone all in contact with that dowel, leaving a little bit of space between the low back and the dowel. Once you've achieved that position, now you're going to kick back from the hip while maintaining that spinal position. A common mistake here is when you push back, you may go into excessive extension using the lower back muscles and erector spinae to drive the movement rather than the glute. So, next up, when you kick back, the muscles you should feel your glute muscle, you may get some hamstring fibers, and you should get minimal to no lower back. So if you're feeling a lot of lower back on this movement, you may be using a band that's too heavy. You can lighten that band up, and if even with a light band you're still feeling that low back, you may be able to get by just doing this exercise with no resistance at all. Really focus on dialing in that movement so you're driving from the hip and you're using the glute to extend, not compensating with excessive extension through the back. So 6 to 8 reps per side. Hold for 2-3 seconds at the back of the movement. Really focusing on dialing in the tension in the correct muscles. And once again, that's the glute and maybe a little bit of hamstring. After you've completed 6 to 8 reps there, we can move into a dead bug position. We're going to use a lighter band here. Band's going to go around the feet again. We want to make sure that we're setting the pelvis in a neutral position. So we don't want to have a huge anterior tilt. There's no need to go into a massive posterior tilt and really press the low back down. We just want it to sit level. So imagine as if the pelvis is a bucket of water. We don't want it tilting forward and dumping water on the front. We don't want to tilt it way back and dump water on the back. We want to hold it somewhere in the middle. So set that pelvis, knees at 90 degrees, and then use your exhale to stiffen your core while extending opposite arm and leg. So right here, breathe in. And now as you extend, make sure that you're not losing that knee angle at about 90 or dumping the pelvis forward into anterior tilt. Make sure you're maintaining your breath with this exercise. Very common for people to want to hold their breath, to hold tension, and try to keep that posture appropriate. So if you're having to hold your breath, in order to hold the posture, you can take the band off and do the exact same movement without the band. So 6 to 8 reps here. Use your breath with the movement and maintain the posture throughout. After that one, we're going to go into 2 positions to activate the glutes. Band's going to come around the feet. You may want a roller or a dowel or something for balance. You don't need to use this, but some may feel more comfortable having something to keep their balance. So one foot's off the ground. You want to bring that foot back slightly. So we don't want the feet in a totally parallel stance. We want to bring the working leg back a little bit, and we're going to push out to the side. And you should be using your glute med muscle here to push. We can go 8 reps here. Then we're going to externally rotate the femur and foot, and we're going to push back. So this is going to hit some different fibers in the glutes. So we're going to go 8 to the side, rotate, and 8 to the back. 8 and 8. After you're done there, we're going to get the obliques going. So we're going to get into a side plank position. So, very common in a side plank for people to lose the position at their shoulder and actually get a lot of irritation or irritated feeling through that shoulder. So make sure that you're pressing your forearm through the ground and you're not letting your shoulder push up into your ear. So we're pressing the ground away. Feet can be stacked on top of each other and the hips are up high to a point where we can feel the obliques. If you're struggling to get that muscle activation in this position, you can go down to your knees. So again, one is not worse than the other. It's not worse to go to bent knees if you're getting more high quality activation. That's where you should be. So it's not better to be in that long lever position if the muscle activation isn't what it's supposed to be. That's very important to understand over a variety of different exercises. It's important to get the purpose that you're trying to get out of that exercise. And adjusting your body position is a lot of times what it takes to do that. So either on your knees or on your feet, we're going to go 8 reps, reaching overhead. Notice when I reach, my hips are going to come up a little bit higher. And when I come down, my hips are going to come a little bit lower, not all the way to the ground, just a little bit lower. Reach, lots of obliques, maybe a little stretch on the lats on the top side, and down. We're going to go 8 reps here, 8 reps on the other side, and then we're going to go under and up. So for this one, the hips stay at high level all the time. The rotation is coming from the thoracic spine, shoulders. We don't want to have too much movement down low. So 8 reaches, 8 rotations. And then last one is a banded skydiver. So we're going to take the band, toss it up around the knees, face down on the mat. And then from here, we're going to bring the legs out wide, bend the knees to 90, press up towards the ceiling. And very important that when you press up, it's coming from hip extension and not low back extension. So those knees don't need to be high off the ground. It may just be a ½ inch. The glute muscles should be driving the movement, not the low back. So if you're feeling a bunch of lower back, you're probably trying to lift up a little bit too high. Just lift a little tiny bit. Get the glutes firing, and then you're going to extend and bend for 12 reps. You should be feeling the glute med as well as the glute max with no lower back. So after you've done 12 reps there, the muscles through your hips, your core should be firing up a little bit. We're going to go through some higher velocity movements now. So band's going to come around the ankles. We're going to start out wide. We're going to do a quick 1-2 step, stabilize on that outside foot, and then a quick 1-2 step back. So we're here, 1-2 stick, 1-2 stick, 1-2 stick. We're going to go 8 on each side. When you stick that landing, very important that you're sticking with your foot, your knee and your hip in a nice straight line, and that you're not collapsing on either end of that movement. So it's a quick drive, quick step, stabilize, stabilize. After you're done 8 on each side, we're going to do a single leg squat pattern. We're going to pull the band up. You're going to do fairly short range movement here. Again, we want to have the foot, knee, and hip maintain a nice straight line. We don't want the knee collapsing as we squat down. So tall posture. We're pushing this back leg back a little bit. This band's actually pulling us inwards a little bit, so the glute complex has to fire to keep our proper alignment. We're going to go 5 reps here on a knee dominant movement. Then right away, we're going to go 5 reps through a hip dominant movement. So it's a squat pattern versus a hinge pattern. 5 of each on each side. One quick little progression on this one is adding a jump. So if you feel like you're able to maintain a nice straight line from foot, knee, and hip, then what you can do here, squat, jump, and stick. Now, there's actually a lot of even elite athletes that come in and they struggle initially with an exercise like this, where they may be able to control here, but then as soon as we add some velocity and some deceleration to that movement on the landing, they'll want to collapse in with that knee. So again, when you land, you don't want to let that knee collapse. The higher you jump, the more force coming back into the ground, and the more challenging it will be to maintain alignment. So we're down, hop, and stick. Make sure you gain your balance before you jump into the next rep. And we can go 5 to 8 reps on each side there. So a couple great drills for you to get your core and your hips activated before a training session. Really important to focus on the details in your warm-up, just like you would for the rest of your training session. And good luck with these drills, and I hope you maximize every session that you have. Have a great day.